Battlecast again, with an unboxing video for the Berserker unit expansion for the Runewars miniatures game. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Battlecast. In today's video we're going to be doing an unboxing of the Berserker unit expansion for the Uthakalan army in the Runewars miniatures game. Now if you watched my Spine Thresher unboxing, you'll know that I was very excited to see the thick boxes on these new expansion packs. Before they were rectangular and a little flimsy. They had some insert in the middle just to give them structure. Well, these guys are nice actual boxes and they'll kind of sit on your shelf well. They've kind of got some nice art. So very cool. So without further ado, let's see what you get in this box. So you get 8 unpainted plastic figures, 2 movement trays, a command tool, a unit card, 5 upgrade cards, and 6 assorted tokens. As is the theme with the Uthuk, we want to crush the weak. At the dark heart of each Uthuk warband are its Berserker warriors. These throngs of gaunt, murderous tribesmen are hardened by their demon-tainted lineage and the unrelenting harshness of the Ru Darklands. Their lives belong to the tribe, and they charge heedless of any danger, wielding their weapons with frightening skill. They will harrow the rich lands of Terranoth and terrorize its soft, settled people. Very good. So let's get into it. So as you can see, there is no cheap insert to give this thing structure. I'm going to lay it all out before you. So first things first, we've got our how to assemble. And I think that these are all the same. No, I think that's a lie. This fella here who's holding up his axe, he may actually be unique to this expansion. I sort of don't remember someone holding their axe up. Or maybe it's this fella who's shielding his face. Those might be new. So here they are, push to fit models, very good. I'll go ahead and we'll branch into a close 360 look of all the models you get in this kit. So right off the bat, I'm just going to say that I really like these Berserker models. They're very tall, especially because their arms are always up in the air. You can see on the shoulder and the waist, though, their connections are a bit okay. Definitely some mold lines on the base. This guy's pretty dope. I love the makeshift claw he has. I think Fantasy Flight has got better at kind of disguising their mold lines in less obvious areas, but again, you can see around that waist and the shoulder, a little bit of a rough. This guy's my favorite. I love how he's just like standing tall, gonna stab down on your shoulders. I will say that with these models, they hold together the best out of any infantry, I think. The Dakan infantry with their shields and spears were a nightmare to put together. These guys, you can drop them, they do not fall because most of them are just 3 pieces, 1 arm and the waist into the legs. The mold lines are, I think, a little bit better. Definitely, you can see on the skirt there, that would pay off to do some trimming, but pretty good models. So in here you get yourself a nice little bit of lore. If you like lore, awesome. For me, I'm not crazy about it. So you get your 1 command dial, you get your 2 of each of the figures in their own packaging. All pretty standard. You get some 36 markers here. The numbers just keep getting bigger. Yeah, we'll talk about the command dials in a sec. What we're going to talk about first, though, are the upgrade cards. Now, one thing I'll just note, it's noteworthy, is that these cards are huge. I don't know when they did this, they must have just done it now, but you'll notice that here is the Berserker card, and here is an upgrade card. So they're actually the same size now. They've done away with the little upgrade cards, at least from what I can tell, and I actually like that change quite a bit. So, first things first, the Berserkers themselves. Now, nothing new here. Everybody's played with these before, played against them, if anyone owns the Uthuk. Basically, they can kill themselves to give themselves a lethal. So on every attack, they can suffer 2 wounds and get rid of 2 figures, essentially, in order to do 2 extra lethal. And this is actually kind of nice. If you really want to take out a high priority target, it might be worth killing these fellas to ensure that you get it done. If you really want to bank on the odds. They're steadfast to fear, which is fine. And then let's talk about these guys. So, of the infantry, I believe that the Berserkers are the second least expensive. That is true. So the reanimates, I think, are 15 for a 2-block. The Decon infantry are, I think, 17, and the Drenadi are 19. So these guys are on the lower end of cost. As far as upgrades go, they can have a pretty good variety here. They can have the armor, which is something I believe the reanimates can't have. They got a champion, music, banner, all that's really good. So they don't have any unique slot. So there you go. 50 points for a 9-block is actually quite cheap. The Decon pay 59 for a 9-block. The reanimates pay 50, so it's actually the same cost as the reanimates for a 9-block, and the Drenadi pay 60. So these guys are actually fairly cheap, and considering that they can really pump out some damage, especially because they can suffer wounds to do more damage. Yeah, so good unit there. Moving on to the upgrade cards. So Corruption Rune. This is a very exciting card. We've had Wind Rune, we've had Fire Rune, and now we have the Corruption Rune. So it's a skill. Choose an enemy at range 1 to Unstable Rune, and discard the top card of your morale deck. That enemy suffers damage equal to the number of morale icons on that card, then receives 1 Bane based on that card type. Confusion, they get a stun. Doubt, they get a panic. Fear, they get an immobilize. So this is quite powerful because stun is going to be great. Immobilize is quite good. And panic tokens are kind of the Uthuk's jam, so there's no real downside. What's interesting is that you can play with, I believe it's a banner upgrade. I'll just flash it up on the screen here. It might be Banner Scamp, I'm not sure. But it's the one where you play with the top card of your morale deck revealed. So really, if you know that you've got a 3 cost on the top, you can basically use this skill, discard it, and they're going to suffer damage. They're going to suffer 3 damage. And 3 damage is quite a lot. I mean, 3 damage is almost a full tray of shitty infantry. It's a wound to many heroes. It's so not to be scoffed at, and it's kind of a ranged attack. It doesn't say they have to be in line of sight. So this is actually really interesting. And it's in an armor slot. So, damn, it can't be used by the reanimates, but that's pretty good. I like that. 4 cost, not too bad. And if we look at their dial, which I kind of have down here, the skill is a white modifier on their secondary dial. So you can definitely, move and skill, or shift skill, or whatever, attack skill if you wanted to, although you probably want to dial in the attack. Next card is Blood Rage Conduit. You may exhaust any number of your Blood Rage Conduits to gain lethal 1 during this attack. For each card exhausted this way, before you are destroyed, you may ready 1 Blood Rage Conduit in your army, even if the card is exhausted. So, this tactic to me, I've kind of thought about this for a while, is you would essentially have many units of Berserkers with the Blood Rage Conduit. And whenever one of those units was in a serious pickle or found a high value target, you could essentially use all of the other Berserkers' Blood Rage Conduits to ensure that that one unit's attack did the most damage possible. So it's kind of like recruiting all the energy of the other Berserkers to help a single unit of Berserkers. Hard to say if I think it's that good. I like other banner cards a lot more. Like reducing your initiative on your movement is quite good. I'm sure some very skilled players out there could make this work. You'd have to have a ton of Berserkers to make this work effectively. So very cool card. Metered March, classic. You can halt at any point along the movement template. I like Metered March quite a bit. I use it quite a bit. I like it because, if you were to dial in, sometimes it's hard Well, these guys actually have a shift at 7, which is okay, but it's not very far. So sometimes you like to dial in a 6 movement for 3, just so you can wait and see how the battle is transforming. And if you find that like you moved up 3 and they just like all sat back with their archers, well then you could move just a millimeter and then prevent yourself from overextending and getting obliterated. So Meteor March is cool, but nothing new with Meteor March. Dispatch Runner, this is a great upgrade card, and in the big format as well. Yeah, I mean, Dispatch Runner, crucial. And what size do these fellas get a champion slot here? So they get it at a 4 block, which is actually pretty good. The only ones who don't get it at a 4 block are the Reanimates, who get it at a 6 block. And Dispatch Runner is obviously amazing. You know, if you're gonna run that that 6 block of Spine Threshers with Ravos, then the Dispatch Runner is going to be the card for you. Terrifying Heraldry. Each unit engaged with you gets a panic token. Fine. This would be maybe a good idea if you were running a Spine Thresher, a frontline Spine Thresher, because then you get a reroll based on that. Fair enough. And then back to Corruption Rune. So pretty standard. You get one Uthuk specific card, which is the Blood Rage Conduit, which I'm not totally convinced is that amazing, but you do get the Corruption Rune, which is, I think that'll see some play. I mean, it's only 4 points, and again, if you play with your Morale deck revealed, that can pump out some damage, I'm sure. Lastly, we'll just kind of talk about the dial here, and because, you know, I think the Uthuk's dial is pretty competitive. These guys have a move 2 at initiative 4. The Dakan have the same thing. The Drenadi have the same. But these fellas have a white modifier on their right, so they can really crank out some big movement. I mean, the only other infantry who can move 4 total is the Dakan infantry, and that's at initiative 8. So these guys can move much quicker. I think you can definitely pull out some janky mind games by, you know, running into somebody before they charge you. Their charge modifier has no minus, which the Reanimates have. They can attack at initiative 4, which is pretty quick, and they can actually dial in an extra hit, which is obviously tons of damage. Quick reform at 3, which is, that's got to be one of the faster reforms. It is one of the faster reforms. Reforming at initiative 3 is the fastest reform for infantry, the next closest being, I don't know, 4 or 5 or something. So that's pretty cool. They could reform and move 1 to kind of get themselves back in the right position. These fellows are a really, really strong infantry. I'd say they're one of the strongest in the game. Better than Reanimates, I'd say, for sure. Obviously, that's on a base value, not including the upgrades. So yeah, that's kind of it, a quick little unboxing. I hope you enjoyed the video. We'll do another unboxing of the Flesh Ripper quite soon, and we will be having a game of Runewars going up with the Uthuk versus, I suspect, the Latari in the weeks to come. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please consider supporting the channel by liking the video, leaving a comment below, or even subscribing to the channel. Until next video, I'll see you then. Thank you.